right. Yoga time. Okay, I'm presuming everybody's ready to roll. So let's get going. So, for this session, we're going to start in Dandasana, the staff pose. So, if you have a blanket, you're welcome to sit on it. Or any little lift, little cushion. But I've got no prop, and it feels comfortable. So the other thing you might want to do, you could even sit against a wall. And one option for your hands to open is to do a very traditional mudra where the thumbs touch at their tips, the hands form a little basket, and that little kind of basket shape just sits on your lap. Elbows relax. So just take a moment to feel where your body's grounded. And there's a lot of surface area on the back of the legs, the heels. But most of us will probably sense a lot of pressure, where most of the weight is, coming down through the floor of the pelvis, through the sit bones, possibly the tailbone. Just a sense of a little pressure through your glutes, hamstrings. So once you've really made contact with what's making contact with the earth at this point, send the awareness up to the very top, up at the crown of the head. And just create a sense of openness at the crown. A little fountain of light emerging from the very top of your skull. So one idea is that we're embodying two different principles. One of being grounded. On a surface. And the other one up at the top, a sense of being very open. Spacious. And just for the next couple minutes, meditate on all the sounds. Any sound that arrives in your field of consciousness. Whether it's a clear voice, perhaps mine, one in the background, ambient noises, mechanical noises, the wind, other animals, cats, dogs, birds. Just take it all in. In a sense, it's not even concentration, which is kind of a different way to use part of our mind. We're trying to zero in and spotlight. This is open. This is wide. This is spacious. This is more of a floodlight. And in a sense, there's nothing we need to do to be in this space. We just need to notice that this is the way it is. All of these sounds, every single one, just arising, falling, there in our conscious space, and then gone again. Just for the last minute here, let's turn a more fixed type of attention, a more concentrated type of awareness. And we'll use that concentrated awareness to start noticing breath sensations. See if you can track the sensation of breathing from the very beginning of your breath to the very end. And tracking the whole story. Just follow these last few deliberate breaths here. Really nothing biomechanically you're needing to do. We're just covering the breath with our awareness. From when it begins till when it ends. Last few rounds. Right, everybody. So let's transition out of that breath meditation. Feel free to open the eyes. All right. So what we're going to do before we really change gears and get up and out of the seat is we're going to do a little piriformis stretch. Great for the upper outer side of your back as well. Sometimes given as a remedy if you've got a little sciatica acting up. So you're going to cross one leg over the other, like so. Now, depending on where your natural tension and just sort of default position with your hips lie, this leg that's crossed over may want to kind of fall open. It may not. Mine wants to fall open. So for me personally, this is actually a lot of work to steer this leg, one, to the midline, and then secondly, even a little bit across the midline. Now, one way to make this a little easier on myself and make it easier for you as you practice, you could lean the torso back and bring this leg across more. You can just see I got a few extra degrees. I like that adjustment. If you're pretty comfortable with it already, sitting upright might be fine for you. And if you're looking for a little more, you can really bring her across and twist the trunk slightly in the direction of this bent leg. Ooh. Last couple breaths here. Alright, so since I went into a little twist, I'm going to come out of the twist, unwrap the leg, shake them out for a second, and switch. So this is the essence of the pose, getting this leg across. Variations on this theme: lean back so you can work this part a little bit more efficiently. If it doesn't feel jammed up at all, leaning back might not even be necessary for you. And then you might want to sit straight up, really pull her across, and possibly even add some twist. Two more breaths here. Wow. Feels really, really good. All right. And if you're in the twist part, come out. And then let's unwrap the leg. All right. I don't want to belabor this one too much, but we haven't done it in quite a while. So I just want to hit it one more time, then we'll move on. First leg goes across. The legs have essentially switched places. Right leg's over to the left leg's over to the right a little. Sit upright with it, or lean back slightly with it. Emphasize the hip all by her lonesome. And, or, right? Emphasize the twist. So let me rephrase. We're emphasizing the hip no matter what, and then if you want to add the twist, add the twist. 2 more big breaths here. Awesome. And let's release. Last time, second side. This is Maty Ezraty. Legs switch places. Lean back if you need a little extra space to make the hip action materialize. Sit upright if the hip's pretty comfortable with it. Add the twist if you want a little more. Awesome. And then let's release that. So nice, everybody. Let's come into all fours. All right. So we're going to start with one knee. And what you're going to do is take the shin a little wider than the foot. Shin wider than foot, shin neutral. Shin wider than foot, shin neutral. Wide, neutral. Wide, neutral. So try that about a dozen times. You can see right here every time, oh, that foot's coming out. So my knees staying in the same position on the floor. And if your knees just are not up for this, you can, maybe come into this shape and do some version of it from up here. Otherwise, once you've hit about 12, let's switch sides. So you're just kicking out through the side of your foot. Shin gets wider than knee, shin gets neutral. Shin gets wider, shin gets neutral. Knee never really changes place. So it's all about this rotational quality in your hip socket. Inward rotation. Oh man, such a good one. Last couple. And those Maty Ezraty moves were facilitating a little bit of inward rotation and adduction. Last one. Okay, let's release that. So next, this is a sequence most of you have gone through fairly recently, if you've been tuning in. So elbows come down on the ground, right underneath the shoulders. Palms come together in prayer position, or the hands can be in a fist, or you can have 2 separate fists. You're going to bunch the knees together and reach back through the right leg. And then just do little beats up and down with the leg. Seconds. Okay. Same leg, no break, little beats side to side. Just kind of swish the leg, don't swish it, make it a little bit stronger. It's a little bit stiffened, but you take the legs side to side. Strong in your glutes, at least in that one glute. Okay, and last one, take the leg in circles. So imagine the wall behind you, and you've got this really long pencil attached to your leg, and you just draw in circles on the wall, and then circles the opposite direction. Oh, goodness. And then let's release that. Let's pull her in. New side. So little up and down, little side to side, circle, circle. Up and down. Now there's a lot to potentially dial into. What the leg is doing is like primary, but what your torso is doing is also very important. And the position of your head and your neck. And this should also feel like, you know, there's a little bit of plank embedded into this pose. Side to side. Circles. You just pick a direction on the cloth. We'll get to the other one soon enough. Last time, circles in the opposite direction. Ooh. All right, let's release that. Nice work. All right. Next, we're going to sit back on these heels for a moment. And bring the hands behind the head. And about 10, 12, 15 times, just lift and lower your shoulders. So you can really bunch them up around the ears, and then you squeeze them down. Bunch them up, squeeze them down. Last couple. And if this seat doesn't work for you, you can sit in any alternate seat. You can even sit where we started in Dandasana. Okay? Then, let's take the elbows forward and backward. So here you want to feel your shoulder blades draw together, adducting, and then spreading apart. So the backward squeeze of your elbows is an inward squeeze with your shoulder blades and your upper back. And the forward point of your elbows is an outward wrapping of your shoulder blades. Two more. Last one. Oh, man. And then the last exercise from here, let's take hands on the shoulders loosely, and then just try some circles. And let's finish it up, circles the opposite direction. Oh, man. All right. One more all fours. The rock back. So you just want to try 8 or 10 or 12 of these guys. This is no cat, no dog. This is the tabletop shape, hinging backward, and then either returning to neutral or pushing forward a little. Neutral spine, all the way through. Last couple. Oh, man. Oh, so good for the low back. All right. Finally, let's get off these knees, tuck the toes, lift up into dog pose. Release the head. So we're just going to shift a little bit forward toward a plank, And then shift a little bit up toward dog. Just 5 times. Shift toward plank. Shift toward dog. Shift toward plank. Shift toward dog. 3 more. Two more. Last one. Keep the feet, everybody, right where they are, and just take little steps with your hands, kind of like they were feet. Oh. And then little steps with your hands up your actual feet, up your shins, up your knees, up your thighs, up to the hips, oh, up to standing. All right, so we've really actually done a lot to warm up the hips in a bunch of different angles and the shoulders. But let's just do one more little warm up here for the shoulders and the arms. So we're just going to try about 30 little swings, mainly backward. It's even okay on these last 10 or 12 to let the hands converge. You can confirm converging with a little clap, or you can just let the inner fingertips touch. Last few. Alright. So then we're going to do a little cha-cha-cha. I don't even know what that is, but we're going to just go side to side like this. So this is a little variation on a theme we've done in the last maybe month or two of practice. This one's a little bit different. So you want to get the feet moving, the knees moving, the hips moving, the torso moving, the arms moving, and everything moves. And then you can get variations on this theme. We're going to do 2, one cross and one open. The cross will just look like you go a little bit more across. So when you twist to the right, that left arm really reaches. When you twist to the left, that right arm really reaches. Last couple. Okay? And come back to the 2 arms, basically kind of like they're moving as one. Almost like you're holding an object there between your palms. Okay, now the open one, the opposite of the cross. You reach out. Oh, man. So if you twist right, that right arm opens. If you twist left, that left arm opens. Last few. Back to this one. Okay. Now, with the arms moving, again, kind of like a single unit, create a little diagonal. So my arms at their low go almost as low as my knee, and at their high, they go about as high as the ear. Last few. Okay, last time, back to center. And the last pattern, just get that going on the other side. So there's a little bit of a diagonal. Arms are moving essentially as one unit. Your whole body's going through all 3 of these movement planes. A low to high, a right to left, And kind of a front of the body to back of the body. Last one or two. Oh, wrap it up with this centered one. Oh my gosh. And then let's come on back. Excellent stuff. Okay, so let's try this. It's a little easier if there's tape down on the ground, which obviously we're not going to do. So what you want to think of, 4 points, super easy. Your mat, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. The sides of your mat. We want to think of like about 6 or 8 spots. So maybe one spot in between the sides of the mat. Yeah? So here's what we're going to do. Lift one leg off the floor. Any amount you can control your reach. Reach forward with that leg. Just barely tap the floor. Okay? Now somewhere between forward and directly out to the side, reach. Directly out to the side, reach. Somewhere between backward and directly out to the side, reach. Backward, reach. Somewhere between backward and out to the side, reach. Directly out to the side, reach. Somewhere between directly out to the side and forward, reach. And then finally back to forward. All right. So I've taught this sequence before, but if you haven't caught it, it might have caught you off guard. It's fairly simple, but it's actually somewhat challenging to execute well. New side. Forward. Diagonal. Lateral. Diagonal. Backward. Back and diagonal. Off to the side. Forward and sideward. Forward. One more time. Side one. Now, if that just felt like, ooh, yikes, my hips, my knee, my ankle, whatever's just like not pulling it off, just do little tiny reaches. So like maybe it looks like this. Forward, sideward, all the way side, diagonal, backward, right? Just little reaches, whatever you can control. If you want it to be a little more challenging and athletic, make it a bigger step. Point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5, point 6, point 7, and then point 8. I think I did 6 twice. Okay, last round, second leg. Okay. One more little balancing exercise here. This one's a little different. You're going to reach one leg forward. And then you're just going to lean back. You might want that opposite arm forward as a little counterweight. And then release. We've never done this one before, so reach a leg forward, counterweight, and then lean back a little. One more time, side one. And if you're maybe even switch arms. And if you're really feeling it, maybe you grab that back heel. And release. Last time, second side. Switch arms. And release. Oh, man. That's a good one. All right, so let's hit some more familiar territory. Both of those are fairly new in terms of movements that I've been bringing in semi-regularly, but only within the last couple months. So anyway, let's sit down in a squat. About 10 big breaths here, everybody. So you're cueing your knees slightly out. Sitting your hips a little lower than your upper trunk. Positioning your head in a way that feels strategic and gets it a little higher than the top of the trunk. The legs may be cooking. Now, I just wanted to make sure I've got some room on my mat. We're going to lean both hands into one thigh and step the opposite leg back into just a nice comfortable amount of lunging. So just to be clear, that back knee, back shin, back thigh, back hip, still all basically face forward or downward. Nothing's really turned out. Each foot could be on its own, like ski, if you had skis down on the ground. Except that back heel, it's not attached to the floor. Let's switch sides. So we come to the squat, shift to the lunge. 5 more times. Squat in, lunging. Utkatasana, Anjayanasana. Utkatasana, Anjayanasana. Squat, lunge. Squat, lunge. Squat, lunge. Last one. Squat and lunge. So on this lunge, everybody, just release your arms down along your side. Reach both arms down along the side of your ribs. And then lastly, reach both arms out like airplane wings. Last transition. Squat. Lunge on the new side. Relax the arms. Reach them along your side. Not relaxed. Reach them out like wings. 3 more big breaths here. Now to transition, bring the hands down along the inside edge of this foot and then step back to plank. Try somewhere between 1 and 6 push-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Downward facing dog. Lift up the right leg. Come back to 1 more lunge. Right foot forward. Just like we were transitioning from lunge to squat. Now we're doing lunge to dog. And come all the way up. So for this one, we've got the head retracted, ribs on a little bit of lockdown, belly tight, back leg butt cheek tight, squaring up those hips, up on the pad of the back foot, up on the toes of the back foot. If you want to take this one a little deeper, you can pulse in it. If you need to back off a little, you can come back to the lean. If it feels just right, just stick it for another couple breaths. Oh man, that's good. Then we transition back to hands inside. Plank. Either 1 or up to 3 push-ups. 1, 2, 3. Downward facing dog. This time, just one more time into this lunge sequence. New side, last side. Step the left foot forward. Hands up on the thigh. We come all the way up. Same little set. Retract the head. Draw in the rib cage. Create some strength in your abdomen. Activate your glutes, especially that back leg cheek. Back it off a little bit. Back to the lean. Intensify it a little bit. Add some pulse. Goodness. Last couple pulses. Or last couple breaths to hold. Plank. Down to just 1 push-up. Dog pose. So this transition, we're going to walk the feet in. Last time we did the walking with the hands. And as long as you can keep your heels flat, walk that far in. And then slowly, oh my gosh, find your way into Malasana, the low deep squat. Five big breaths here. Heels are down. Hips are steering open. Head's above the chest. Chest is above the belly. Some lift through the spine. Some sink through the hips. I know I still owe you all a 10-minute squat, but this is not the session for it. Last few breaths here. So, let's make our way the rest of the way down onto our bottom. All right. So from here, everybody, we're back to where we started, Dandasana. Now what we're going to do is a little kind of a soccer stretch, a little version on Trayanga Mukha Ekapara Paschimottanasana. So here's what we're going to do. Take a look. You're going to lean off to one side so that there's this, so that this is easy. Then you're going to lean back into the side you leaned away from until you feel a little stretch through this region. Now if it's feeling weird for your knee, come more to the side. If it feels comfortable, and you're getting some really nice stretch for your thigh and your quad, you can come more to the center and lean back. Now, this is a maybe. It's really cool if you're up for it. Whatever this bent leg is, find the arm that matches, same side, and reach it back. Last couple breaths here. Now you want to come up gingerly. So, err on the side of leaning toward your straight leg. Free the back leg. Come back to neutral. All right. New side. I love this one. Lean. Bend. Make sure your knee feels A-okay with this guy. If you need to, you can also squeeze your butt cheek a little bit more firmly, and you'll often get more quad response. So already it's like I'm totally in the stretch, in the zone. Can't go quite as far back on this side. Remember, you can rotate more toward the bent leg. It's going to intensify it. You can continue to rotate more toward the straight leg, and it's a little less intense. Either way with the rotation, you can add leaning back, often not necessary. You could even add stretching the arm. Oh. Don't forget to breathe. Last couple breaths here. Yeah, that feels good. So remember on these transitions, you want to really lean into the straight leg side so you can free that back leg easily. Let's come back to center. All right, everybody. So from here, we're going to do Paschimottanasana. Paschimottanasana. So that's Dandasana with the forward bend. So you just want to walk out through the hands. Feel like your low back's coming into the pose. The rib cage is coming down and into the pose. The shoulders are finding a way to relax down and into the pose. And the neck's releasing down. A little bit forward and a little bit downward. I'm not keeping a lot of tension in the legs, but I am maintaining some organization. They still are basically straight up and down. The inner edges of the toes touch. They haven't rolled in or out. They're pretty purposely neutral. One of the early Hatha Yoga codifiers, those that do some of the naming, thought this pose touched the entire backside of your body, right? Basically from the soles of your feet, through your calves, hamstrings, glutes, lower back, mid-back, upper back, shoulders, neck, head. They call it the stretch of the West. If you're practicing at sunrise, facing the facing the rising sun in the east. Your backside, which is getting all the stretch here, would be directly exposed to the west. And so you're stretching that west side. All right, last few breaths here. We're going for 2 full clock minutes on this one. Ooh. There we go. Oh my gosh. Let's uncurl up. And we're going to slide onto our backside. Oh man, we haven't spent much time here. So come down onto your back, please. And let your arms open out to either side. Just to the point where it feels like they're equally open. Whether they're just barely on your mat or way off your mat. And then let the head range around a little bit. So you can tell it's off, neutral, on, and then off, neutral, and then on. And just slowly find your way back to neutral. And finally, everybody, just come back to some breath awareness. Just on your own in the next few breaths, just let go of the breath focus and let the mind simply be wide open and spacious. Connect to the soundscape. One more time, everybody, reconnect to your breath sensations. And take your time. Always encourage taking your time during those transitions up from Shavasana, but as you're ready, make your way up to a comfortable seat. So we opened with a little kind of spatial awareness practice, and then the soundscape practice, and just sort of an open mind version of some meditation. Then we started getting a little more concentrated on some breathing practices, and then transitioned into the movement part of our practice. And then as we came out of the movement part of our practice and started to transition toward Shavasana, we kind of went to the contracted mode again for a moment, back to some breath awareness. And then for corpse, we let that go, back to that open, wide, spacious mind. And in yoga, traditionally, there's two separate words, two different, actually, rungs on the yogic ladder, dhyana and dharana, right? Dharana, one's concentration, and one's meditation, and they are kind of different ways of using consciousness. So anyway, we tried to hit both of those, as well as hitting hips and shoulders and neck, and getting that nice big squat to lunge sequence going. Anyway, thank you all as always for your time and attention, and namaste.